Let me help you to understand psychiatry concepts through some interesting MCQs. One of the important MCQs we'll take up is a chronic alcoholic was brought to emergency within 2 days of a lockdown being announced. The last drink was about 48 hours back. Is anxious, restless, sweating a lot, and sees people and snakes away from the reality. What is the immediate treatment of choice? The choices given could be IV haloperidol, IV lorazepam, and thiamine combination, IV haloperidol and thiamine combination. So what do you think is the answer here? Let's take the key points. It's a chronic alcoholic presenting within 48 hours or within 2 days, anxious, restless, sweating a lot, which is autonomic arousal, as well as patient is seeing people and snakes out of reality, basically having visual hallucinations. So what are we talking about here? We are talking about an acute alcohol withdrawal state, delirium or delirium tremens. So what is the treatment of choice? Alcohol withdrawal treatment of choice is benzodiazepines. But when these kind of choices are given, some of the students will think haloperidol could be the answer because haloperidol is required because the patient has visual hallucinations and it's a psychotic symptom. But do remember here that haloperidol can be given as an add-on to reduce the agitation or restlessness or some of these psychotic symptoms. But it is not the primary treatment. What remains the primary treatment? It has to be a benzodiazepine. So what would you choose here? Two choices are ruled out and you're left with two choices, IV lorazepam and thiamine combination. Your biochemistry knowledge will teach you that whenever an alcoholic or a chronic alcoholic presents to an emergency, you need to remember about thiamine deficiency and precipitation of Wernicke's encephalopathy. So, IV lorazepam and thiamine is the right choice here. The next scenario is choose the odd one out based on the core pathology. There are a few choices given and you need to choose the odd one based on the core pathology. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, Lewy body dementia, multisystemic atrophy or MSA. What is the odd one here? There are two important core pathologies we can talk about in neurodegenerative conditions, right? Tauopathy and synucleinopathy. Now, tauopathy characteristic condition is Alzheimer's disease, whereas synucleinopathy important conditions are Parkinson's disease, Lewy body dementia, multisystemic atrophy. So, with this knowledge, what do you think is the answer for this question? The answer for this question obviously would be Alzheimer's disease because that is an example of a tauopathy, whereas the rest of the three which were given are an example of synucleinopathy. Let's move to the next MCQ. A patient is on lithium medication for her bipolar mood disorder. What are the basic signs of lithium toxicity? Ataxia, nystagmus, incontinence, palpitations, breathlessness, skin rashes, fever, malaise and sore throat are the possible choices which could be given. So what is the answer? The answer is basically you need to remember what are the important features of lithium toxicity. So what are the important features of lithium toxicity? Nausea, vomiting, coarse tremors, hyperreflexia, hypertonia, rigidity, weakness, nystagmus, ataxia, incontinence, myoclonic jerks, seizures, cardiovascular collapse, stupor, coma and death can happen. So with this understanding, you know few choices get ruled out. Based on the knowledge about various features of lithium toxicity, this question becomes easy and you should be able to answer the right answer. What is the right answer? The right answer is ataxia, nystagmus and incontinence. That is the possible signs the person should be looking for lithium toxicity. By the way, when you looked at the other two choices, you need to remember fever, sore throat and infection could be one important indicator of agranulocytosis, which can happen with clozapine. Skin rashes especially is extremely important with lamotrigine and carbamazepine use. An extension of the same MCQ could be like this. If an individual has to check serum lithium levels, what is the best time to test for serum lithium levels? There is no specific time, can be done randomly is one of the choices given. Immediately tested after the last dose, 6 hours after the last dose, 10 to 12 hours after the last dose. So what do you think is the answer here? The answer for this question is, you need to remember, we check for serum lithium level about 10 to 12 hours after the last dose. Basically, when we are assessing for serum lithium levels, we are checking for the trough levels. An MCQ is created like this. The teacher asked the student who's the inventor of EEG. As the student was not sure of the answer, the teacher said, let me give a hint. The name rhymes to something we get regularly in McDonald's. This type of memory recall is. The choices given are semantic memory, implicit memory, priming, associative learning. It's a good idea to know what these terms mean for us to answer this question. Implicit memory is also called as procedural memory. Some simple examples could be swimming, cycling. Priming is an innate response to stimuli due to previous experience. Asking to read a passage after exposure to set of words, the individual would be able to read and process faster due to the previous exposure. That could be an example of priming. Please remember, priming is a kind of a little more subconscious or an innate process which happens. Semantic memory is basically remembering facts and figures. If you are asked who discovered EEG, Hans Berger is the answer which you recall. That is called as semantic memory. Associative learning is learning through association. It could be by rhyming, creating mnemonics, and other forms of associative learning. So in this example, when you're reading EEG chapter, you come across Hans Berger discovered EEG and you try to remember his name, associating it with a more familiar term, burger. So that is what is called as associative learning. With this knowledge, you tell me the answer for this question. Obviously, the answer could be associative learning. SSRI is a commonly used psychotropic. Which of the following is a common side effect related to this class of drug? Blurring of vision, dry mouth, sexual dysfunction, constipation. To understand the right answer, let me highlight a few important points. Blurring of vision, dry mouth, and constipation are examples of anticholinergic side effects, right? So one of the important antidepressants related to anticholinergic side effects are the tricyclic antidepressants. Can you guess, is anticholinergic side effects common with SSRIs or not? It is generally not seen. But can you tell me an example of an SSRI which is more prone for anticholinergic side effects? The right answer is paroxetine. Okay, except paroxetine, the rest of them do not cause that much amount of anticholinergic side effects. Whereas sexual dysfunction is a common problem with SSRIs. What would you choose here as the answer? You know, you remove all the anticholinergic side effects. The answer which is remaining is sexual dysfunction, which is the right answer, which is the most common side effect out of the choices which are given. An anesthetist is asked to report to give ECT for a depressed patient. The role of anesthetist is prevent memory issues arising from ECT, to treat if there are prolonged seizures, to give general anesthesia and muscle relaxant combination, to induce anesthesia for mood elevation. So what do you think is the role of anesthetist in ECT? Please remember, the only legal way of giving ECT now is modified ECT. So what is modified ECT? Modified ECT is giving ECT with an anesthetic agent and a muscle relaxant. The anesthetic agent is used to induce amnesia and anesthesia, whereas muscle relaxant is used to produce skeletal muscle relaxation. The drug of choice anesthetic agent which is commonly used in ECT is methohexital, whereas the muscle relaxant quite commonly used is succinylcholine. So what do you think is the answer here? The role of anesthetist is to give general anesthesia and muscle relaxant combination.